All right, we are back. Thank you for everyone who came back and who was waiting. The players just got their deck boxes back after deck checks, and should be sitting down to play within about a minute. We had a lot of interesting matches to choose from as far as what to put on stream.
Oh, yeah,
It would have been either Azuri Katsu, Victor Katsu, Dori Katsu, or Kano Prism. We decided to go with the Dori versus Katsu. It's a Hatchet Dori list.
It's
Pretty sure.
It's hatchets versus a more mid-range Katsu.
Yep.
It's like a 3 versus 6 seed. So
And these two people are pretty good friends and test with each other extensively. So I think that this could be a really interesting match to watch because they probably know the ins and outs of each other's decks very well. So I think we're going to get a really good game out of this. Let's go ahead and jump over to our gameplay screen. Looks like we're just getting ready to sit down.
is there a proper place to put this in purple Discord? Like, where do you put it usually?
Usually it's at the top. There's like a community content.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. So this should be really interesting. Hatchet Dory is a newer deck, and I still don't really know like the full extent of what it's capable of. Like it can do so much.
So I referenced earlier in earlier in the first stream, we were talking about Hatchet Story and how we might see one today. And this was, if I recall correctly, there was like only 2 Dories here. There was 3 Dories here. I think one was on Pure Dawnblade, the other one was Hatchets. I don't know what the third one was on. But again, like once you know how to play against Hatchet Story and realize where the true value comes from, like that third axe swing or that second Hatchet swing, you're really getting you really know when to push and stop value. There's like a point in the game where you're gonna have to look at the Dory player and like prove that, be like,
Make
hey,
them have it.
like, do you have 3 D-Reacts in hand or 4 blues in hand? Because they play a lot of blues. We'll get the deck list here in a minute also, by the way, so we'll have more insight on what these players are playing. Because it's open deck list since we're streaming, so they'll get the deck list first, be able to look at each other's deck list, and then we'll get it brought into us, so we'll know. But yeah, you have to play the game and make the Dory have it to be able to push that much damage. Their ceiling is very, very, very low. The highest ceiling you can really get off the card is pitching a blue, going Hatchet, Blade Runner, double Blade Flurry into second Hatchet. And then that's like where you get a lot, like that's your ceiling turn. Or if you like Spill Blood into a Blade Flurry, off a Tunic into another Hatchet, like you get a lot of value there. But like a lot of the combos come from the red Blade Flurry turns, and you only have 3 of those. Like the red hit and runs aren't the greatest.
Right.
So you'll see a lot of that.
It does work very well off of 2-card hands though. Is the thing. That's
like
the biggest power of the deck, and it produces so much defensive value, which I think is going to come key in this matchup. I think that there's going to be turns where Dakota presents an attack, Shane defends, and Dakota tries to like press over the top of the defenses.
Yes.
And then at that point, it's really up to Shane to present, like a take it on the chin or a defense reaction to shut those huge turns down.
So one thing to note here is that Katsu players have been leaning towards Mask of the Taunting Link now in a lot of matchups. I think you side them more so for Dromai.
You guys can face camera if you want until they start. I'll let you know.
No,
Fine.
it's fine. So like you get Mask of the Taunting Links usually. Dakota hates that card. So like he's not the biggest fan. So we'll see if he flips it here. I know it's in his list, but I'm not sure if it's for Dory.
He is definitely a Mask of momentum gamer.
Yeah.
Loves that card. He has been playing Katsu for a while. I think
since release.
Yeah.
I think he's been playing since WTR.
He took a break when Briar came out, and he started playing a lot of Briar. But yeah, Katsu has always been something that is, in his wheelhouse. So this is going to be a really good game. There's going to be probably a lot of interesting skill expression that we're going to see. I wonder if he's still on the one of Pummel.
I didn't see it in this list when I was looking at it, but we'll double check. The one card that I did see in Dakota's list when I was looking at it quickly, and I'm sure Dakota's actually doing a count right now of how many D-Reacts are in Shane's list. He's on one of Burdens of the Past.
Yes.
He is playing a one of blue.
Spicy one.
Yeah. So he might bring that into this matchup depending on how many D-Reacts, like, because he plays Flip Flack, so usually he hits hits the range. People play Flick Flax into, not Flick Flax, hits D-Rex into Katsu anyways, so you can hit it and then just be like, okay, cool. One card also that Dakota's not the biggest fan of is Ancestral Harmony. I'm not sure if he's playing that. He might be, but he's not the biggest fan of it. He thinks it's like too much of a high rolly card to where it just doesn't really come in too much.
It also doesn't match his playstyle very well.
No.
He, like we've mentioned, he's very mid-rangey when it comes to Katsu. And I feel like, yeah, like you mentioned, that's a high roll, aggressive card, and it doesn't surprise me that he would leave it out, but I guess we'll wait until we see the deck list to see if that is the case.
Yeah, they're intently looking at it. I think you get 5 minutes to look at deck lists when it is open deck lists like this.
You usually don't need that much time, but
No. Yesterday, my top 8 game that I ended up losing, me and my opponent looked at each other, we looked, and we're like a minute in, and we're like, yeah, I think we're done. But it seems like these two players are studying it pretty hard, trying to remember some important nuances to it. And Dakota looks like he's the first one done, and I'm sure Shane will be ending here shortly. Again, being open deck list kind of ruins the surprise. I'm sure these two have played against each other enough to where it shouldn't make too big of a deal, but Dakota kind of has that surprise of being more defensive when you play them. Normally you sit down against a Katsu and you're like, okay, it's just going to be all balls to the wall and we're just going to try to punch face. He doesn't do that.
yeah.
So seeing a deck list and how it looks, it's definitely different than your standard Katsu list. You're going to be aware that, hey, I might have to play this matchup a little differently than...
Now, Shane will know this.
Yeah.
Shane almost certainly knows how Dakota's going to play this, but if Dakota were to win here and go to the next round, his next opponent might not.
Yeah.
But then they're going to take that information from the deck list and they could maybe infer that. So yeah, with a stream, you have to do the open deck list just for the sake of fairness. So that is a downside potentially.
Yeah, so we'll see how these two players play in that respect. I know Shane's list is more so standard hatchets. He's on the Heart of Fendal. He's on, like I said, we'll get the full deck list, but I know he's on Heart of Fendal and Blue Fatal Engagement. I can cut it down to 2. I know a lot of people have been playing 3 of those. It's this weird, again, it's just a pretty standard hatchets list. I wouldn't say it's developing anything too crazy in there. So,
and this is a deck that is maybe, I would say, out of Shane's wheelhouse normally. He was a Lexi player.
yes.
So Katsu, or Dakota, has been on Katsu pretty much since Katsu came out. Shane has been on Lexi basically since her release.
When she LL'd, I heard he moved towards Vincent a little bit.
And didn't do amazing.
Well, it's Vincent. The deck kind of can just falter.
So it's interesting seeing him play this really mid-rangey defensive style warrior after this hyper aggressive Lexi deck. So we'll see how he adapts. I mean, I don't know how long he's been on this specific list, but it can't be too long because this deck just kind of dropped
it
recently,
existed, right? But there's certain things. So I think we're having Chris go get the deck list for us right now. We'll go over top 8.
Yeah, I can post it in chat.
Yeah.
Josh needs them back after this round.
I just need the 2 that were.
Josh will need them back anyways, so just hold on to them all.
Oh yeah.
Let me know where they're at.
All right. Well, why don't you take a look at those deck lists, and I'm going to put in chat what made top 8.
Yeah. Two. All right. Oh, so here's a big card that we talked about earlier that was seeing a lot of play. Amnesia. This is actually, we're going to see it for the first time getting played into a Katsu. We're going to see how it affects it.
Is this in the dory list?
This is in the dory list. This is something that we saw at the PT. He was running 30 because he was worried about the Katsu matchup. I imagine Shane's going to pop it right in, and it's going to fit right at home. Otherwise, there's one down and dirty in here, I'm guessing, for the Dromai matchup, and probably Prism. Otherwise, it seems pretty simple. I guess a thing, I'm not sure what the PT list usually looks like, but I know a lot of people have been faltering on this card specifically in Kasai. Maybe Hatchet Story is a bigger fan of it, but Shift the Tide of Battle. You aware what that card does?
Yeah, Shift the Tide of Battle. Super interesting card. Really good because it gives you the go again on the turn that you play it, but then it also gives you the agility on the back end. So it's basically 2 go again cards in one, and I think that's actually really important for this strategy. I think Hatchet Dory plays it very well.
Yeah, I agree. One spicy card looking at Shane's list, because otherwise it's pretty standard, is Blue Warriors Valor. He has it as a 1-up. So
You probably just wanted another
blue,
blue.
and you tossed it in. Like he said, he didn't want to play 3 Warmonks. He's only on 2. He's like, I want one more form of go again, so we're gonna do that.
Sure. Yeah, we can work with that.
Yeah. So quickly looking over at the Katsu list as we're starting up here, we see 2 Tenacities. It's pretty normal here.
We're not going to see this in the matchup, but I love that there is a Blazing Yoroi in the equipment slot.
He loves this card. This wins him so many matches, by the way. Like, he plays the Katsu mirror, he plays the the Ninja mirror, and he flips it. His opponent doesn't, and I always see his opponent go up and read it, and then it just blows him out of the game. The card's really good.
So he's on the 2 Tenacity, which is interesting. It looks like he did choose to present Mask of Momentum.
Which is interesting. I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll see.
It's
Dakota's a
what
better
he
player.
likes.
He likes the card, and we will see how he plays it.
Oh, and it looks like we're going to be getting started here.
Yep, there we go. We're getting started here. We'll see who Dakota got to choose, since he is the higher seed of who got to go first. So we shall see. Yeah, it looks like Dakota said he wants to go second. So we're taking Tinnik on Shane's. Looking at Shane's hand, it seems like it kind of has that Dory problem of not a lot going on, which is fine. We're probably just going to arsenal this thing, throw a hatchet.
Yeah, not really
Yeah.
trying to make too much happen on turn 1, I think.
No reason to let him filter. So, big thing that is different about Dakota's, as we were talking about too, is that he's playing a lot of these blue combo cards. He's not playing a lot of non-attacking blue cards because he wants them to combo with Flick Flack. So you'll see some weird pitch going on here, and that's all okay. It's fine. But so we're gonna start with Dachi, and we're gonna lead 2. So Mask is coming on, and here's the blue combo card that literally is just 2 threatening Mask.
I'm surprised that Shane didn't want to use the Dynamos on that middle Kodachi.
Yeah, maybe he was just thinking that it might have been a bigger turn coming his way, and he said, I want to block like a 4 break point, which can totally happen.
Very small turn from the Katsu.
And they probably just building up, waiting to explode. It seemed like he had 2 fine centers in hand, which is not the greatest, and another blue pitch. Alright, so let's see what Dakota wants to try to set up in his bin, because that's the big thing with Katsu. You need to make sure that bin gets set up so you can go chain these big turns together.
So it's just going to be for 2.
If this hits, they can swing again, which is the important part. So if we have double Blade Runner, that's massive. We do have the 3 resources floating, and we can get a pretty good turn out of this. So we can go 2, 3, 3.
I think the hit and runs are the ones that you're really looking for
Yeah.
to be able to swing 3 times. Otherwise, you
Did I
need-
say Blade Runner on accident?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the hit and run I meant because it's like the card. Nope, we just got a CNC here. So we're going to go 6 to face.
And this makes sense why he didn't block with the Dynamos
Yeah.
now, because he wouldn't have been able to refresh. So no need to if you're just planning on going hatchet into CNC.
And we just give a fine center and a dishonor, which is okay.
Getting the dishonor in the yard is good though.
It's really good. It basically removes that extra value that Dory can get if he can get it live. But I'm not sure how important that is.
I think just having it as a bonds target is probably what's more important.
Here we go. Dachi. Pitching another blue Winds of Eternity.
I think that we're going to see a very slow, grindy game here.
Again, Dakota's deck is a value Katsu deck. Maybe that's probably why he is playing Mask of Momentum. So here comes a Surging Strike. Good chance that there is the 1 for 3, but it becomes 0 for 5 when you play a Surging Strike. The Descendant Gust Wave in Arsenal here, or Overwhelming. Just so we can maybe put a little bit more pressure on here. Or he just wanted to get the Surging on hand and throw in like the 5 damage turn, which is totally fine.
And we see the Dynamos deployed. I imagine that these are going to get a lot of value over the course of the game.
Yep. So blue Whelming. So now we know his first hand and why it was so awkward. He had 4 blues in hand. Oh no, Whelming's red. Okay, so coming in for 4. And we're ripping the Brave Forge. Okay, so Shane wanted to keep 2 cards in hand here, even with the Arsenal.
And that makes sense because you typically need at minimum 2 cards to be able to make these function. I'm not sure what he arsenaled on the last turn, but maybe it's not something that he's planning on deploying right now.
Yeah. Hatchet, pitching into Blade Runner. So, okay, so this is probably red Blade Runner in hand, so I'm guessing we're going to go 2 and then into 6, so. And there it is. Classic Hatchet story turn. And this hand equated 15 value because Dynamos gets to be removed. We blocked 6.
The 6 on the second hatchet is so big.
It is so gross. So, Game Fluster in the bin's important. We'll see if we ever get this mass trigger. We're also on Snapdragon Scalers, by the way. We're not on...
And I think, again, that kind of goes to how Dakota likes to play Katsu. He's not trying to set up these massive, multi-bonds turns.
So, looks like Daichi and probably CNC, right? Oh, Hunter wins CNC. CNCs are important in this matchup, too, because if Shane just somehow bricks on D-Rex or blocks him properly on some point, like, we can get a master just if he just lets Daichi sit into a CNC.
Yeah.
Like, off of that. Looks like we're going to be blocking with a glint here. CNC. So we'll see how important this arsenal is. More than likely, you're just going to block for value anyways if you're Shane, because you really can't outvalue getting a card ripped.
I think I might have seen a goblet in his hand, and if he does, it should be pretty easy to put 2 cards in front of this, and then your turn is just play goblet.
I think that's a very fair turn. It looks like that's what he's going to do.
I think that's a pretty decent setup turn.
We're losing a shift decide to battle and a
Blade
blade
Flurry.
flurry. That's pretty big though.
Yeah, that's a good power card. I'm pretty sure this was a goblet.
And he's waiting, slowly drawing up here.
Yep. So good setup here from Shane.
If we really wanted to, we could do a hatchet too, but it's just not worth it.
No. Let's see what he can do with it. I see a Fate for Seamless drawn.
Coming for one.
I imagine we're eating most of these
Dodgy
most of the time.
This game goes 20 turns, you'll probably start seeing people blocking these, but not the case. So we got red surging, so this is going to force Dino block.
And we have the Fate in hand, so this will bring us to 5.
Looks like we have another whelming, and we have 2 whelmings in hand on Dakota's end, so this will combo into whelming. And then worst case, you just arsenal the whelming, which will probably be the case here. Here's the Fate.
I think that was a glint on top.
Didn't really get a chance to see.
Wants to keep
All
it on
right,
top.
gonna keep it there. Not many cards in. Okay, coming. Is this blue?
This one looks blue.
There we go.
Yeah.
So 2. Only using a card. There's the Amnesia. Like I said, we would see that. Okay, into bonds. Okay, I thought it was double whelming. No bonds. This is just a good solid turn here from Dakota.
Yeah, we're just going to end on a red Flusterfist, it looks like. Is he on blue? He is on blue Flusterfist.
As
Okay.
well. So this is coming in for 3. So he's only on 1 yellow bonds. He's not on blue bonds either, so his bonds are very tight. He only has 4 of these turns in him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So just the 3 red and the 1 yellow?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Shane is probably pretty safe to just
Eat
the 3 and the 4.
I don't think you want to eat both just to preserve some life, because you are afraid that the Katsu might just explode at some point.
That's true. I guess with the agility and the vigor token, you can already swing
Tunic,
2 hatchets off
like you
of
could
1 card.
No, you can do it off of 0.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have Tunic up, so you can. He ate the 3 though, so he wants to keep one of the cards in hand, and he is going to eat the 4 as well, so he's taking what you do. But that's the power of the deck, though. Is like you can threaten a 0 card 5 here, which is like.
I almost wonder if that would have been better than
I think
just
so.
protect your life total.
Try to get the value out of it, because like the student trigger now is just sitting here.
Yeah, if we go too many turns without using the tunic, then it's losing value over the course of the game.
We might be using it here though. Maybe we'll have a Blade Runner into a hit and run turn. I don't know. This is very weird. Unless we have hit and run and then we'll use tunic to pay for it. It depends on what it is in Shane's arsenal in Amnesia. So I guess he really just wanted to try to slow him down, keeping the Amnesia there. I I'm not sure if taking that damage was correct then. Because we 8-7 to throw 8 back, and we're not getting our Dynamo Tree counter back. I think that's the big thing. So maybe
We could have still been at 34 and presented 5 damage.
with getting our Dynamo back. A lot
So,
of value.
6 value.
Yeah. This is round 1 of top 8. We do not have any reports from other matches going on yet, but we will let you guys know what wins what when we get that information. All right, so coming for 1, go again, pretty classic. I saw Shane draw a card that's been one of the cards that, like, when people first saw it, thought would be good in most decks, but has actually become way above value. Take it on the chin.
Yes.
That card is insane. And here we go, Snatch. So, do we have the Flick Flack in hand? Not Flick Flack. The Razor Reflex in hand. So Dakota does play Razor Reflex in this. So he's coming in for 4 on it, draw, and hopefully a Razor into a Mask and Momentum. That's
Looks like he's playing 2 razors.
yes. And he always tries to threaten it through this. It's so crazy because there's a lot of value if you get to draw 2 cards and Katsu trigger, and then it's very classic, down to the ground Katsu style gameplay. It's AE. So he's gonna sink. But even if you A here, you draw, you're gonna start Arsenal. I like that.
Yeah.
No reason to push with snaps here. Because as soon as you break that, because Shane might just look at it and be like, okay, I'll just keep this chin for now, and then just let you break your snappies. There's one other Razor Reflex.
It's a pretty good card to park in Arsenal, too, the Take It on the Chin.
Well, you're all reds in Dakota's hand, so that's kind of unfortunate here.
One of them being an E-Strike, though. So
Yeah.
you can always afford to... Oh, there's the Razor.
Yeah.
You can always block 2 cards and then just E-Strike for 7.
So coming in for 2. No go again yet. Glint. Give and go again to it. Pretty easy. And Blade Flurry.
Oh, nice.
This is like one of the most pushed warrior cards in existence. I saw this card for the first time and I was like, this card is cracked. Like,
I think Warrior needed something like this, though. But they don't need too many of them.
no.
It's a fine line for sure. But most of Warrior's reactions up to this point have always just been 0 for 3 is like the rate that you can get. So a 0 for 4 is pretty huge for them.
And the restriction on it is great because like it helps Dawnblade Dory too.
Yeah, no, it's great.
But like if you can block out Dawnblade Dory, then it's like, okay, like it's only 2. It's a 0 for 2. So
Looks like Dakota's just taking all of it.
we must have I'm curious to see what we do with this hand. I guess we'll try to bait with Be Like Water. We have Hardened Cross Wrap here if we really want resources for something. So maybe that's what he's going to do. He's going to go 3 here into 5, go again into tucking the Razor into Hardened Cross Wrap CNC.
We could see the AE deployed from Arsenal here, trying to fish for a Katsu trigger.
All right, that's what he's going to do. And then maybe we'll draw a blue off of this.
Yeah, that would be the best way to line this up. But Shane does have the Take It on the Chin.
And there it is.
Is that a second one?
That's the second one. I think he has one parked in Arsenal.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
We'll get the agility here.
He did draw the blue, though. So our hand kind of did fix itself, which is...
I think I see a CNC back there.
Yeah.
Okay, I know he has the Razor, and I think it was an E-Strike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a bad hand.
So you can E-Strike here. If you really want to, you get E-Strike, tuck a card, draw, and then go blue, go Razor off of whatever you draw. And then
Using snaps.
no, you don't even need to set Razor, gives go again. If it hits.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. Looks like we're just going to go for Dachis here, though.
I think we're probably going to see Dachi, E-Strike go again into CNC.
I think that's a fair plan.
We could also see maybe like Dachi, E-Strike for 7, Arsenal to CNC.
Whatever flavor of value that creates.
It's a good turn.
It's all value. That is a straight Michael Hamilton turn right there. keep poking. And we'll see. He's grabbing that. So we're definitely not throwing the CNC this turn unless we want to go hard and cross wrap for it.
No, I can't imagine that that's going to be what we see. I think this will just be for 7, and then we're going to Arsenal card.
And there it is, yeah.
Pretty good turn. Presenting a decent chunk of damage.
Did he tuck? What did he tuck? Did he tuck the? We haven't seen him.
It was, yeah, so he
either
either
CNC
kept the CNC or the Razor. I'm not sure which.
This is threatening a mass trigger, so he could hit. He could reflex this. He could go again. He has an Arch Shin in hand, and I think.
I bet you he bottomed the CNC if that's the case.
Yeah. So blocking 6, and
Yep.
here's the Razor. This is really good. Threatening mask.
Bumping up to 10.
Hmm.
So Shane would need to come up with 6 more defense.
4, right? We blocked 6 here.
Is that not Dynamos and...
Oh, it is his
the
Dynamo.
CNC?
Oh, yeah, it's his Dynamo. So
Yeah.
he needs to come up with 6 here, which we only have 1 card in hand right now. Because we use one of the... And we saw that there's a second ticket on the chin in his hand, so...
He'd have to have, like, Sync
Yeah.
and take it on the chin, but then he's not doing anything on his turn.
And you're just burning these clicking tokens.
I think
I think you just eat it.
Yeah, I
like,
think Dakota's getting a master trigger here. Whether or not he can use it. Yeah, it looks like we're taking 6 here.
So we saw the snatches in Dakota's. That's, you know what would be huge here? Drawing that another snatch. Oh, it's a whelming.
That's a decent
You
one to
can
park in
discard.
Arsenal.
You can discard it too.
What do you find, Fluster?
You just grab a red fluster, right? Throw 4, just depends. He's thinking about it. Depends on how many red flusters we've seen. He's counting. He's already counting flusters right now. Like, there's not many other combo cards he has that he could grab here that would make sense.
It looks like he's taking the Katsu trigger.
Yep. Gonna grab a red fluster, I imagine.
This is a huge turn for Dakota.
Yeah, 4 more damage here, and we know that we do have enough pitch to swing both. Because of Tunic here, we have enough pitch to swing both hatchets. Now, will Shane eat the 4 here, go to 14? I think the more important part here is Shane's hemorrhaging health here, and Dakota's equipment's not used at all yet. Like, we still have the cross wrap, we still have the breaking skills, we still have the snaps. Like, we haven't even done our big turn yet, and we're just leaking enough damage to where we're putting on the pressure.
Notably, this could have been a turn that Shane decided to deploy the Balance of Justice, but chose not to.
They haven't used it for the block yet. I know you can block with it and then draw it, but maybe he's waiting for a possible Art of War. But I don't think Dakota plays Art of War, so I think this might have been one of the few times that he could have actually used it.
Yeah, maybe a slight misstep here. That seemed like a really good turn to get the extra value out of it.
It's hard to remember that AE does draw you a card, and that was played so early in the turn that...
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we're taking 1 off the hatchet.
And then we're coming in for 4. I mean, 3, but 4 damage total here. And we're even squared at 14. So it seems like we have a blue pitch, Be Like Water, an AE, and another card.
And we still have that Take It on the Chin in Arsenal, right?
I think so.
I don't think we've used that yet.
No. Unless he IP'd himself, and that's why he had 2 Taken on the Chins the previous turn. I'm not sure what is in that arsenal then, if that's the case. But I think he arsenaled the 3rd Taken on the Chin, because he just pitched 1 as well. So here's another Be Like Water. And this is where Katsu gets really tricky here. Because you have the one floating, you really don't want to give him the surging name, but like, how much do you block here? Like, you can't, giving 3 doesn't really do it.
Yeah, is it AE? Is it Razor?
And the fact that you saw a Razor, like, what do you do? And it's so we're going to draw a card here.
So I think we'll see if it's the Take It on the Chin now.
He would definitely just throw it out there. I don't... Oh, he has a sinking hand. So if it was Chin, I think he uses it there.
I think you use it there.
Yeah, so I don't think it's Chin and Arsenal.
Because this is overblocking by a lot now.
Well, I think it's very important to do so, right? Like,
I think so, but I think we would see the smaller block if it was available.
I think a cleaner block here to play around this, just to make sure, is by throwing Dynamos in front of this too. I know you don't really get the value for it, but like, it just feels smart into Katsu. Because you have the sink in case they Razor too. So you're just playing around AE.
Yeah.
You saw the deck list, so you know there's only 2 Razors. There's only one more left in the deck. I think it's a very fair thing to do.
Until all of the empowerments are gone, I think that that's a pretty fair play.
Well, we've seen 2 now.
Right.
I wonder what Dakota's thinking about here. Just throwing the 100 lines for 2.
It's a much weaker turn.
Yeah, but he has a red Whelming in hand that he's going to park in Arsenal for a big Surgeon turn if he draws another red Surgeon or a yellow one. That he can just break Crosswap for. And I think we're getting a lot of value off of Shane not fully blocking these small attacks out, though. Like, Shane's health is at 11. Like, I feel like we should be a lot higher. Like, I don't think we should be almost racing Katsu. Even though it is a more defensive Katsu list, I don't think you can keep up as much.
Right. Well, let's see what he can do with the cards he kept.
So, it's a hold the line. It's coming in for 2. Interesting that he kept the hold line over the sink. Blade Runner. I wonder what's in that arsenal. Like, it is just sitting there.
It's been there for a few turns.
Yeah. I mean, this is like one of the most powerful turns for Hatchet Stories. It's 2 card 8s. That basically 9 because you get the counter off of the dynamos. Threatens a lot of damage, a lot of value. And I think I see a Surging in Dakota's hand. I think this might be the turn he decides to try to have his probably last big turn of the game.
I have to imagine this is a turn where we're going to use the cross reps.
I think there's a Descendant in there too, so this might be very strong.
Yeah, just taking all of the damage here. I think this is going to be a really big turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can activate cross reps here. And it's a red Surging too, so this is going to be a very high value turn. Does he have a Bonds? He has a second Surging in hand, which is awkward. But maybe you just get the Arsenal that. He has a Bonds, and then the Burdens of the Past. So he's probably going to try to get this hit. Burdens of the Past, Katsu trigger whenever something hits.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be good to go. Because we're going to throw 5 here, throw 4 from Arsenal, throw in an on-hit draw, and then go into a Bonds. Now, I don't know what Bonds target he's going to go for. Again, I think Dishonor is worth it if you're going to end there.
He can also send the Whelming from Arsenal, play the Descendant, pitching the Burdens, play the Bonds, play the Dishonor, and he still gets the active Dishonor line.
I don't see... I thought there was a Descendant, but it's 2 Surgings. It was 2 Surgings instead.
Okay.
Yeah, so he has a second Surging. So if he wanted to here, he could Surging here and then Surging again.
I mean, that's not bad either.
No, because then you're threatening to on hit again, and then being like, well, I have another card in hand, and hopefully you get the hit. Being like, hey, I need this hit to get some cards. It's like a good bait, and then you have the Whelming there to throw, and then try to draw a card off of that. And then you still get your combo line. You're probably gonna leak through a bunch of damage because you're gonna force a lot of awkward blocks with that play line.
I think this might be a turn that we see some additional armor deployed.
We still have the Balance of Justice. I think it's just a 3 block in balance here. It's fine. You've seen 2 AEs, so odds he has a third. I think you just say have it. And then you know there's 1 Flick Flack, but he broke. You can't use it here because it's a 2 cost. So it's already just have the third AE or not. So you're saying, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Oh, it is a Descendant. Okay, so we're going to keep it. Come in for 5.
Oh, and then it's a Bonds Surging.
Okay.
So he could have played the Whelming before this to turn it on.
Yeah.
Pitched the Surging to play the Descendant,
Mm-hmm.
play the Bonds, and then end with the Dishonor.
Which is a pretty interesting line that you could take. Maybe he's just fishing for this card here. And he still has snaps up, so it's like...
Shane's ahead on life, but I feel like he's in a rough spot right now.
Like this is Dakota's big turn. Thing is, we still have breaking skills, so you can't really block this evenly. You have to block 6
Yeah,
here.
it's almost like you have to block 1 over on every chain link after this, because otherwise you basically give him the Katsu trigger. I don't know if you can afford to.
Let's see what blocks we're gonna throw out here. Definitely getting 2 cards.
Looks like he's going to be going down to 1 card in hand, which is not
Where you want to be.
not where you want to be on a turn like this.
And you only have 2 armor blocks, so you only can block really 5 more. Like, and he's thinking, so he's gonna go bonds.
I have to
Grab
imagine.
the dishonor.
Yeah.
Oh, he's grabbing. We're gonna double bonds here. So it snaps.
So we play the whelming out of arsenal.
Yep, snaps it.
Snap it. Play the bonds.
Yep, and then grab the dishonor.
Either that or another fluster fist.
And we have 1 fluster left in deck.
Because we know he's holding the surging, right? Yeah, so Dakota's deck, not the type of deck that is fishing for these huge multi-bonds turns, but still
Can generate them.
more than capable of setting them up. Shane is going to be taking damage this turn. It's just a matter of how much and when.
So he's really trying to prevent this Katsu trigger that's not there. It's just
He doesn't know.
no,
it's not there.
yeah, it's just not there. I think like it's so crazy that he's playing into Dakota's like hand here, and this is a whelming. It's a blue whelming, so it's coming in for 1. So very insignificant damage, but
all we care about is the name of the card right now.
all this damage is going through. So we have 1, 2, 4, 8, 10. This chain will be going to 1 this turn if he breaks the breaking skills.
Wow.
That's insane. Okay, so there's Tunic.
And this is he's essentially giving up Tunic for nothing here. He doesn't know this, but there is no Katsu trigger to be had.
We're just gonna grab Dishonor. We're gonna turn off that cut. And I mean, we're probably not going to use the breaking skills here because going to 3 is fine. But like, I mean, this Dory was never going to double, triple swing anyways in this matchup. I don't think. But like, I guess what he looked at the Arsenal card. It looks like he's about to like launch it. Is it?
It's a single.
He's been sitting on that this whole time.
Wow.
So we had our first matchup report here. Unshockingly, Prism did beat Kano.
Upset of the century.
Yeah, really. So congrats. There's a sync below. And
Dishonor for 4. The effect is active here. I don't think it matters at this point in the game.
You might as well just turn that hero card face down and call it a day. Like, I do like that's how people like do the Dishonor thing is they just put the card over it because
I feel like it's so like disrespectful.
It's-
Making your opponent put your card over their hero.
Yeah. It's like, listen, we gotta keep track of this somehow.
That was a huge turn for Dakota.
And it was a big sync blow. And I think the thing that we have to realize here too is that as soon as he flips that Arsenal card and it's another Surging Strike, can't imagine what Shane's gonna think. So like I did all that work, gave up so much to prevent this Katsu trigger that didn't exist.
He didn't push a crazy amount of damage, but the amount of resources that he took from Shane on that turn were huge.
There it is. And I think it's all 3 blocks in Shane's hand. I don't see anything extra. No, there's a hold the line in the hand, so there's only 11 block. Like, if Dakota drew properly, this should just be it. This should be able to throw enough damage.
Yeah, breaking skills still available as well.
And there's a razor in hand, by the way.
Oh man.
So we're going to Dachi for all your razor or third attack. Draw a card off a mask. Draw like
Is this a Be Like Water coming in?
I think so. Fishing the fluster.
Oh, it's a Fluster Fist. Okay.
And it's a win turn. No go again yet. That's the keyword. Yeah.
However, if you decide to take this,
you're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead. You had to block this. He's looking and he's checking it out, and like.
It's that pummel situation, though, right? If you play around it, it's just going to sit in the arsenal, and eventually it's going to have to get you.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes.
Oh, it looks like he might be choosing to
Just give
overly
it up.
respect it. It looked like he wanted to put 2 cards down.
Well, it's holding the line, so he can just block 3 and then
React.
but he has to hold the line, so he does live here, but we're drawing a card. We're gonna go to 2 and we're drawing a card.
Yeah, it looks like Shane's going to be taking 3 here.
I'm thinking 4 because of breaking scale, so putting him to 1.
Oh, he broke the breaking scales too.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's just in that Dachi lock.
And we have the mask here. This is our 3rd mask trigger of this game, by the way. We have 1 floating, and it's a Gust Wave for 2. I mean, it rips the card, but any 4 attack.
Any 4 attack would have just ended it there.
game.
Yeah.
So now we're Dachi locked. We have no equipment block. This should be as clear as over. Like, it is, as long as if we don't whiff a blue, we should be fine.
Getting Dachi locked is one of the worst feelings in Flesh and Blood.
He really he literally pushes it forward. Here we go.
I think there's a Fate for Scene in hand, but it just doesn't matter.
Oh, you get to block this here. It's coming in for 3. Get the 3 block. You go AE, and then you Fate, and then you 3 to last card.
There's a Whelming in hand there that we can just...
Oh, wait,
yeah,
man, play the tenacity!
Yeah! All right.
Tenacity for 6.
Dakota wins there. I think most of our other matches are very close to finishing here. So we are going to go on a really quick break, and we will probably be back, I would say, within less than 5 minutes, maybe, with another game.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think that everything else is wrapping up right now. So,
Missouri
we got to
lost
report
that match. Yeah.
Missouri lost? Okay, so our
So-
Katsu won, so we are getting a Katsu mirror.
we are going to have a
Let
Katsu
me give you
mirror.
an update on the other one.
And then we're waiting on
We know
Victor.
the Prism won. So the Victor versus Katsu, which, again, probably won't take much longer.
So we're waiting. We could have 3 of our 8 Katsus. Three of our top 4 will be Katsus.
I don't feel very good for Jeremy. Jeremy is a team member, and he's a very good player,
But
but he's playing against Victor.
it is a rough match.
That is a very rough matchup. Yeah, we will be back in just a moment. So thank you for sticking with us.
10.
All right, we are back. Sorry for the delay. We had the Victor Katsu mirror finishing up. When we went, the Victor was at like 30 life and the Katsu was at like 10.
Victor
So,
ended at 5 life.
I assumed that it would go quickly, but the Katsu ended up pulling off I think, triple bonds.
Triple bonds. After it was double bonds and a triple bonds.
And then it was a grind from there. This round, we are going to be having a Prism versus Katsu matchup. And then the Victor is playing into our other Katsu in top 8. But we are going to be focusing on that Prism Katsu matchup. So that's Sage versus Quinton. So I think they are sitting down right now. Yep.
They're getting all ready to go.
Get this started.
So a Prism player I may be, but I am not a good one, as I've said before. I played this matchup, and I don't know how this is supposed to go. I think it's, if I had to guess, technically Prism favored. I would say technically.
I think, with my very limited knowledge, I think I would agree with that, but I don't think it's by much.
No. It's closer to a 50-50 from my experience, but I think there's a lot of skill expression in this matchup. But any matchup that deals with Prism, I think you're just going to get that. Like, this deck is very complicated to play with. It's also very complicated to play against. But so, with that in mind, you don't do that. You hit the fucking mic.
The mic.
You nailed the mic. That was Chris Kern, the other second cycle member, shooting the mic with a Nerf crossbow. Sorry about that. Hopefully that didn't hurt your ears too much.
All right, so it looks like players are having a chance to review deck lists.
Interesting. So unlike if I understand correctly, I haven't seen Quinton's deck list, but if I understand correctly, this Katsu is nothing like the Katsu we saw last round. This is, I think, your more standard aggro, ancestral empowerment.
Multi-bonds.
We are going to go to face, and this game's ending in 6 turns.
Yeah.
If it doesn't end in 6 turns, we probably lose. Type of Katsu. So, I'm sure Sage... I don't know what cards... Like, if I look at a Katsu list in your Prism, I guess you're A, checking for poppers, which we'll see in a minute how many poppers are running. B, you're also probably checking for attack reactions.
I can't imagine that Katsu has many poppers.
No, you're probably playing CNCs.
CNCs are almost a given, but anything beyond that, like what else? What else would you have?
Like you could, like any generic, right? Like you could play the Amnesia for the mirror if you really are feeling spicy. I don't know how the mirror for Katsu goes, but like that'd be pretty neat.
I would be surprised if there were more than 5 poppers in the Katsu list.
I would be shocked too. I think if I had to guess, standard.
Pinky up.
Pinky up. Oh, I like that. We like that. I have to be fancy. But
yeah, more than 5 would surprise me. I don't think this is going to be anywhere close to like a popper matchup.
No, but you still have to look, right? You want to be aware. It's open deck list. You have the information. There's no reason not to play around that information. With that being said, though, you look for reactions, and then I guess you look to see if they're on flick flex, if they're on sinks, because D-Rex are probably coming in, so we can block properly. Can you wrap deck list again?
They're still reviewing.
I think they just finished.
Oh yeah, the stream did. I can bring that in a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Just take this with you.
So we'll see the deck list in a minute again. They just finished looking at them.
Now, the other matchup, the one that we're not watching, the Victor versus Katsu. Victor, typically pretty favored into Katsu, but that's the Katsu that we just watched, the one that doesn't play like a typical Katsu list. So that is going to be interesting to see who wins that one, because normally I would give it to the Victor. But one, it's a non-standard Katsu list, and it is a very, very good Katsu player.
They're very talented.
So I definitely want to hear what happens there once a victor is decided.
I'm sure our matchup will probably finish before that one.
You think so? Yeah, that's fair.
Like I had to guess so.
All right, so I have the Katsu list here. As far as poppers go, I think it's just 3 Command and Conquer.
That's what it looks like to me too. And we could Art of War and create a Surging Strike into a popper.
We can make our own poppers.
If we're really feeling saucy, if we really need to. Otherwise, there's 3 Flick Black, 3 Sink Below. So we have 6 D-Rex and 3 poppers. Otherwise, it looks fairly standard.
I think that as the Katsu player, you need to be very aggressive. You
Yes.
need to go as fast as you can because the later this goes, I think the more Prism favorite it's going to be.
I think the one thing about playing these D-Rex though in this matchup is that if you have an off turn as Katsu, these D-Rex really save you. Like you can sink and try to find a card, you can just block out. And if you like flick flack into a second Herald, like you're doing really well. It looks like we're getting started here. So it seems like Sage. So Sage is the higher seed as the 5th seed, and he decided to go second. So we're going to go Dachi. We're taking one. And let's see, do we see any... Oh, Lord, that is not good. We see 3 angels in here, 2 angels in hand.
2 Figments?
Yeah, this is not the greatest start. Not what you really want to see if you're Sage. So we're going to go with Surgeon Strike. We're going to pitch one of the 2 Figments. And we're going to go throw a Dissenter. So we're going to get that Dissenter in the bin early, and that's massive.
This could have been a lot worse for the Prism player.
Yes.
Could have been devastating, honestly. Where did our foots... Okay, we put them back.
Yeah, we put them back. We're just blocking with the... So this could have been a lot worse. So taking the one there is pretty favorable. So, oh, wow. Is that double Erudition? That's what it looked like. He's going... It is double Erudition. So we're just going to pop this right away, say, you don't have that CNC, and we're going to launch it.
And even if you do have the CNC, we pay for footsteps and do it again?
No, you don't have enough floating. So if the CNC just ends your turn on the spot.
Are we holding 2 yellows?
Yes.
We're holding 2 yellows, okay.
These we had the angel from the turn before. It looks like we can't block it. We are just going to take 7. Goes the soul. We're drawing 2, and Prism activates. So it looks like he drew another Figment. These
unlucky.
are glued to his hand. So trigger him. So he's trying. So the reason why Sage looked at his hand there, he was trying to figure out if he can use the Ponder Trigger token this turn. I don't think he can.
He's going to have too many cards in his hand.
He's going to have too many cards. So probably just going to grab Protection, get a Spectral Shield. It's so good generically. It's basically gain 1 life, and go from there. There it is.
I feel like those are the 2 like default options that you look at first before anything else.
Depends on the matchup, because sometimes you like to grab Rebirth early if you're going into like the long grind, try to get that ALS slip set up. So if you get ALS set up into Guardian,
sure,
you kind of just win. So the Sage isn't on the Aura plan into Guardian. So we'll see here what he decides to do. I imagine we're just going to arsenal that other Erudition. I think that's our goal for the turn. But I'm curious to see if he decides to flip here or not. Again, this is a race. So like it is 4 damage.
We have the resources. Like we can pay for the attack here.
Yeah,
definitely.
we can, without a doubt. So let's see. He is in the tank.
It looks like he's getting ready to pitch, so I think we're declining to flip. I guess we could do it later in the turn, but
we won't have go again. Okay, we're just going Triumph.
maybe just trying to build up a bit more soul.
Well, we have Angelic Wrath in hand, so maybe we're like, okay, if this is only for 5, if you want to block it, we're just going to buff it anyways.
Get a second card in soul to set up for later.
And then we can flip for protection. There it is. So we get +2, make it 7. And we keep the Erudition. So, makes sense in that respect.
This is, I feel like, going to be a very quick game.
Yes, this is a very strong start from Sage 2. This is like exactly what you want to see. I don't know what is in Quinton's hand, but I think he grabbed War. Okay, so he seems to be favoring War. We saw this earlier when he was another aggro matchup. He grabs it second, get that Courage token. This makes sense because he has that other Erudition in hand. So instead of just, we don't have equipment now to block that out, unless we want to give links, because you're going to have to give arms, feet, and then a D-React to block that Erudition next turn. So it makes a lot of sense how we're saying that up. Are we going to... Oh, okay, just a small fix there. Put the Herald, that would have been a big deal. So
Did we get a peek at what he's going to be arsenalling here?
it's Erudition.
Oh, it is the second.
It is the second Erudition.
But it looks like we are choosing to flip the War.
Yep. So I think we're just playing for... This is War prevention. And here's the thing. He can't swing a Surging into the War. Because he can then just flip Halo, grab arcane damage, put a card in, and end his turn. He has an Erudition and Arsenal. You're just going to be like, cool, whatever. You just did nothing in your turn. I get basically 2 turns back to back. So this is a very, very safe play here, unless he draws the War. But I think we saw the War in pitch. So Oh, we're starting with a Descendant. Interesting.
We're potentially going to see a multi-bonds turn.
Only going for 2, so we have a yellow Descendant.
Don't have much in our arsenal, though.
Mm-hmm. And it has to be a bonds in hand, and he's gonna block this. He wants to protect things for the damage. It's an Art of War. Okay. So the good news for Sage is that he does have that Spectral Shield. So he's not losing the Angel here. So he's not losing that prevention.
Preventing the Katsu on hit.
Well, with Balana on board too, like he has Ward 4. So this would so if it was for 4, he would probably have to give up the Balana, but
Right.
couldn't be the case. But now this is coming in for 5. We can give Footsteps here and pitch a card, but I'm not sure how much we're willing to give up to prevent this from on hitting. We have a Dishonor in bin, and he's going for the Dishonor.
He still has 2 cards in hand, too, so
Yeah.
I really wonder what is coming between this bonds and the Dishonor that he's fetching.
It's very interesting here because it needs to. If it hits, then you can activate Feet and give go again to that Dishonor. But right now, Sage has a lot of ways to prevent that from hitting. So it seems like he's going to let it hit for 1. And we're going to get the Katsu trigger. We'll see if he breaks Feet here. Looks like there's a Be Like Water in hand that he's discarding. I'm not sure what that card laying on the table is for.
I think maybe it fell
Oh,
out
it fell
of
out
the
of the
deck.
deck. We're going to get a Judge Call
Yeah.
and fix that. Okay. Just going to put it at
He
the
still,
bottom.
he still has his 2 cards in hand.
There's a little bit of flubbing. He had pretty clean sleeves, so... and, it's just slippery,
Okay, so we are taking the Katsu trigger. It looks like we're discarding... Oh, it was a Flusterfist. Let's see if he... Okay, so discarding the Flusterfist.
We do not have any resources floating, because that is a yellow 100 win. So I wonder what we're going to grab here.
If he's holding another bonds and he just wanted to do a double bonds turn on this Art of War, he could just get the Whelming and pop his boots right now.
Yep. Because we did leak 1.
We'll see what he chooses to grab.
So Sage elected not to prevent this. He could have threw Footsteps in front of this and prevented the on hit if he really wanted to. Maybe he was worried that Footsteps would get blown up, but we saw 3 poppers, so we're not sure how big of a deal that happening would be. So
That's true. I mean, Footsteps might not even matter in this matchup. He just may never even see the 3 CNCs before this game's over.
Yeah. So I don't think the idea of it getting buffed to 6 was the problem. I think Sage must have his 3 cards he wants to keep. I think he's accepted the fact that he is keeping this. Quentin is in the tank. I mean, I'm wondering if he's thinking about breaking boots and links here too. We have that option. Are we just going to send it turn 2? This matchup's not going to be very long. He's grabbing 100 wins with the Katsu trigger. That's interesting. So are we just going to go 100 wins into Dishonor? Dishonor is active. Wouldn't be active.
Oh, we have 100 wins in
100
hand.
wins. So it's 100 wins Dishonor. And we discarded red Flusterfist, so we couldn't grab Flusterfist with the bonds anyways. So we're just throwing this Dishonor for 2. And I can see why that was very difficult to figure out here. For 3, because it was an Art of War turn, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of damage there.
Decent amount of damage.
But here comes the Erudition. Oh, and it's Light of Soul. Okay, let's see. We're going to reveal. Do we hit? We do. Goes the Soul and we get the trigger it. Light of Soul is so powerful in Prism. This card was actually played in Bolton for a while too, trying to figure out.
Remember you were trying it.
It's really good in Bolton when you're playing a heavy yellow list because free soul is free soul. And that's what you're always trying to get. But right now, Bolton lists just don't play as many yellows as the card needs to be playing for it to be worth playing.
Very good in these Prism lists, though, which are almost mono yellows. The deck list here has 43 yellows.
I only play 13 less. And it triggers Prism. I think I saw an ALS in hand too from Sage. So we're grabbing oh, that's pretty scary.
Is he gonna try to loop him?
I think if this hits and he has Genesis ALS, I think he can. And it hit. So Quentin goes to 20. We're getting another search. I imagine we're going to grab Erudition here. Like, we're looking to just to draw. We're looking to draw. So draw 2. And now we get the tutor again. Here we go.
This is so much to keep track of.
It's so much fun though. When you get this to go, it is a blast.
It looked like he remembered. Okay, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he was just checking his hand to see what he wanted to grab. Again, that ponder token is really important. So it's like, do I want to go this wide this turn? How important is that to draw these 2 extra cards? And I think for him, he thinks it's very important.
There's the Erudition.
Mm-hmm.
So are we flipping Erudition, attacking to draw 2 more, and then deploying ALS and Genesis? Is that the idea?
That is the idea if you're trying to loop. And if you can get that to stick, you basically win the game on the spot. I don't think there's any time snap or any way to get action points with this list.
No, I don't see anything that would get the Katsu out of it.
So we are banishing. We're flipping protection. So he doesn't want to go for the draws, which is fine. So he's gonna attack. But we have the loop set up if we need to, basically. Swinging and we're banishing. Okay, so Sage is playing the save life game. Quentin only has 4 cards in hand. I know, like, there's a bunch of, like, equipment still up for Quentin. But, I mean, this is basically gaining 6 life when you have a 25. And it's coming for a protection for 7. This is disgusting. Like, when Prism doesn't get popped, this gets absolutely almost unmanageable by an aggro deck. Like, because it just races so fast. But one pop by aggro deck, it flips the whole game state.
And there won't be any go again on this because this is our second Herald for the turn, but it looks like we are likely going to be setting that ALS in Arsenal.
More than likely, we do get a draw off the ponder here. So that is something that is important to realize. The one thing I want to mention about the ALS loop also, like, he does have it set up, but it's a lot harder to get done when you have Rapture on board. It's a lot easier with Vestige because every time you put cards into Genesis Soul, it turns on Vestige, and then your yellows become blue. So it's a lot harder to keep maintained, but having ALS here is really nice. And if we're getting cards out of Quentin's hand this turn, and you're Sage, you're feeling pretty good. Because if he blocks this out for some reason, it doesn't look like it. We're going to 9. And here's the Wrath. Okay. Oh, we pitched the ALS. Yeah, we pitched the ALS earlier. Okay. So, Wrath going to +3, and going to 7 now. We're going to get a Spectral Shield. We're going to get another card. I don't even know what you grab here. It's like,
do you have anything left?
You do. He's on a lot of Figments, but then you grab Ravages? No, you grab Tryout? He's thinking. Oh, I think it's Ravage and Sage. Oh. I get why he's keeping Ravages in the deck. Because this makes Quentin not be able to attack an Angels. That's really what Ravages does. So Figment Trend comes in. You're not going to be able to pop this turn. Not that it matters. We have no action points left. So we're going to ponder, move on to our next turn. And Sage didn't look at his pitch because probably not getting to it. Draw, and it's a Cataclysm. Not what you want to Arsenal, but we're going to anyways.
I mean, depending on how the next turn goes, he could very easily swing with a Herald, get his 3rd soul, swing 7. And Quentin's only at 7 life now. So Cataclysm at this point in the game is not too unreasonable.
And we don't even need to swing the Herald. We have Halo still up. So what we can really do is pitch, throw a Herald in the soul, and we can just throw it with the Cataclysm. Then we can play around the popper. We come in for 7.
I think that was actually a very good draw for right now.
Yeah. Like, when you look at Sage's face and my face when I thought about it, it didn't really feel great, but the more you think about it, like, it's very flexible in this situation just because you have 2 in soul. Be like water, no blocks. You just let the Aegis eat it.
I can't imagine this game goes more than 2 more turns. This has been very rough for the Katsu.
I mean, seeing 2 Herald Air Editions with no poppers, and we're just throwing a Surging Strike for 5 here. If you're Sage, do you even let this hit? Like, do you, like, care? Like, you just throw a 3-block card in front of this. You have 2 shields. Like, I don't know how much you really want. You don't want this to hit because you don't really want to risk them getting the game. You know they're at 7. You can do some silly things with Halo still. Get that Cataclysm out. Swing Erudition after that Cataclysm because you can flip it from... Oh, no, but you wouldn't have the soul to draw 2. But still, like, you have a bunch of plays here that can threaten, like, lethal. And letting this hit might not be the best thing to happen because we have Mask up still. We have Boots up still. We have...
Yeah, if you let this hit, you could potentially see a discard for Descendant and Mask finding your bonds, and then all of a sudden...
Are we on blue bonds? That's the question. We're not. Oh, we are. We're on
We have
one blue
one.
bond. So
Yeah.
then I'm not sure if you played in this matchup. Sometimes you don't.
But it may not be worth potentially giving him that turn if it is available.
No.
I think that throwing 1 card in front of this is the safest play.
It's 1 card. You still get a 4-card hand. Like, I like this. So if it's AE, you do get blown out. But it has to be AE and only AE. So it goes through. We blocked it out. Lose the 2 shields. I like that. I really like that block there. I think that's a very smart block. Quinton's in a really bad spot right now.
Looks like he may be deciding whether or not he wants to arsenal his card.
And we have cross trap still up, so if it's like a big 2-cost attack. Like, because if it was CNC, we would have saw it used Hot Blast turn. So I'm not sure what. Maybe it's a blue. We haven't swung the 3rd Dachi yet. Maybe it's a Descendant for 5, and then if you go Descendant for 5 here, it hits. We break Mask, grab bonds. We can try to dishonor this turn. I mean, that's still an okay turn. Like, this equipment right now is not getting any use. It looks like we're going to put in Arsenal. Okay.
I don't even think dishonoring Prism at this point in the game is...
It's more so forcing the damage.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think this equipment's not really getting use right now. We have 4 blocks still on it, but like if you block with links, you're losing a very high-powered turn. Prism's playing a 4-card hand here, which is quite strong. We know the Cataclysm is an arsenal. We're at 2 in soul. This could be a very big turn from Sage. I really like the idea of breaking Halo here. It feels really saucy, the first thought. It feels like Chef would be cooking. Secondly, it just feels smart too. Like, it feels like, and here it is. Yeah,
Here we go.
I like it. I like this play a lot. You get to put in the soul, draw a card, just hope you don't draw the angel you want to grab.
Imagine we're going to be finding the Ravages here.
I think so. Because we broke it, we don't need it in deck anymore. And it's 1 arcane damage, right? Like, we love it.
So
I was on top of the deck. Wow. That was
One-
really
one
close.
draw away. So we find Ravages. We're going to be taking 1 damage down to 6. If we flip this and attack, we're automatically taking 2 more down to 4. Is that something that Sage might be interested in doing here?
It could be.
It turns off your Cataclysm.
It's an interesting decision here. It depends on what else is hand. He's going to go for the Cataclysm. So I'm guessing he has another big Herald in hand. Like, this does threaten lethal. And if you have, like, a 7 attack Herald in hand, give it 3 cards still in hand. Like, that wasn't card negative. You drew a card. Actually, you have 2 cards because of the pitch. But you have 1 floating. So if you have a War Tune in hand and you can arsenal, like, let's say an LS, a Genesis. Not a Genesis at this point. It's not worth it, but like an ALS. I think you're in a fine spot because if he does anything that really scares you, you just drop the ALS on board and you're good to go.
And Katsu does play a lot of 2 blocks. So if you do follow this up with another Herald, even if you have to pitch one card to swing for like a protection, you could potentially still leak damage if he's holding, an excess of these combo cards.
And if you bait Quentin here and he drew his popper, uses popper here, like that's massive because we have all the equipment block and we're fine seeing that equipment block, especially if he blocks the links. I think we're really happy. And doing this first plays around the popper. It plays around so much, but if he's not going to give a popper here, you're basically ripping his whole hand at this point. So
I think I saw Bonds at the front of Quentin's hand. Potentially looking to give just one card here.
I think so.
Oh, a card and some armor.
I mean, we have to use it at some point.
Yeah.
We can't save it for the next game. Imagine if that's stacked. I'll lose this game because
I would just lose like 100 games
yeah,
in a row.
yeah. Now I got a million armor block.
Going into the Pro Tour?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, very, very rough spot for Quentin to be in. I would not want to be in his seat right now.
All right, we're blocking in. That's blocking 4. I see the bonds he is holding. So you'd be taking 3, going to 3. And I think he gave Breezy's 2, so I think he took 3. He took 3. Pierce for protection. So this is exactly what you were saying. So this is coming for 7. This is very awkward to block.
One card is not enough here.
No.
One card and armor is still not enough
for this that's going to hit. So you have to either...
We may see the Breeze Riders and the Mask deployed with a card from hand.
Oh, wait. Are we doing the Surge? Okay, we draw the Surgeon. If we draw the Surgeon here, this is a popper now. I don't think we drew... we did! We drew a Surgeon! Is it red or blue? Yellow!
Was he trying to show us?
Oh!
He looked up.
Yeah. Oh. It must be yellow.
Yeah, it's yellow. I
Yellow.
can see the pitch.
We almost lived the dream there. So this will be blocking 7. We keep the mask for another turn, but this is the semifinal. This is top 4. So good news for Quentin. We have yet to see a popper. Bad news for Quentin. You're at 3 life.
3 life against a Prism.
Yes, with basically 1 life, because if he ever takes 1 damage, it ravages game over once you somehow get 2 in soul. And we drew up. I see a War Tune in hand, so this is like, even if you can pop here, you're just going to keep ripping cards from hand. And we're going to pitch the War Tuned. I think I see a second one in hand all the way to the left, so well, I think keeping double War Tune. Your on-hits don't really matter at this point. Like, so going in for, I think that's,
It's a
yellow.
yellow.
So it's coming in for 6. We still haven't drawn the popper.
Yeah, I feel like Quentin has just been on the back foot for most of this game.
And this is for dominate. 5 dominate.
Oh, that's rough.
You have to block 3 and get a mask here. You can't let this hit. Yeah. When you're a Katsu player and you're in a spot where you have to use Mask of the Pouncy Link to block, this is not really something you want. You're in a bad spot.
And we see Quentin reading the Herald of Ravages there. I think he's aware that falling to 2 is going to be death for him at some point, but Sage will still need to get a second card in soul in order to do that.
Going to 1. Okay. So this hits. Prism Trigger will activate. Let's see. What do we have left? We got Rebirth. I guess you just grab Rebirth here, and I think you just grab if you have any Dominate cards in. Oh, we're flipping. 2? Okay, so we're going to banish. We have to banish from Soul. We did not banish the Tenacity. There he goes. Okay. Maybe he's failed. Maybe he just decided to fail to find. Maybe he just said, I don't really want it.
Sure. And we didn't have the resources to attack there.
No, so you block 3 here, and you hope it's not A in Arsenal, and then you go Herald for go again, and you go Angel for go again, and you're in this basically Adachi lock. But instead of it being 1 and 1, it's 4 and 7. Like,
I can't see a way for Quinton to get out of this game, but
okay.
if there is one, I'm glad to be proven wrong.
So you just let the Herald eat it. I mean, the Angel eat it.
Now, I find that actually to be an interesting decision on Sage's part, because with Quinton at 1, he's not going to be able to get Heralds into Soul anymore.
No, I think being able to... Okay, so he had a Tenacity at the back end there. So no matter what, I think the Herald is getting eaten. So... And we haven't seen poppers yet. I think that's the big thing here. Is like we have yet to see a single CNC. We know there's 3 in the deck. And okay, so he had a Triumph. So this is big. So it turns off all the poppers. Sage, it's open deck list, just for everyone who isn't aware. So he knows that the only poppers in the deck are CNCs. So this is asking for 2 cards or a card mask. It is this blue or yellow? It's hard to tell. I think it's blue.
I think it looks like a blue.
So we can give a card mask here. We can't really play around the Angelic Wrath anymore. It's just not an option. So
we have seen, I think, 2 of those so far, though. So
yeah,
there is only one more
left
floating around.
We had awkward blocks here, so. And for 6. So.
Are we holding a 2 block?
We are. We got the mask. Oh, we see a Soul Shield. Oh,
this is a very awkward draw.
Yeah, you don't really want to see that. That's the worry.
Are we holding a Herald?
We are. We do have a Herald to play.
So we can at least go Herald deploying Passing Mirage.
Big thing is this is a Triumph, and it's for 6. So we're ripping 2 cards. We'll play the Passing Mirage, Arsenal the Soul Shield. So this is a way to get something back in Soul. But not really what you want to see. And we drew single Cataclysm. Double Cataclysm looks like. As small as this opening is, it is still an opening. Like, this is a chance to try to get some pressure back on and do some damage. Sage has decided not to use the Soul Shield there. Probably just going to keep that in the arsenal for now and throw. And it's a red Triumph. So even if we drew a CNC here, we have to block with 3 cards. And that's why I was saying that maybe you want to play the Sinks and Flicks in this matchup because it helps in that respect.
Yeah, that's so many resources. And if he has another Herald, which it looks like he
does.
does.
It dominates, so it's the game.
That's game.
So Sage will be in our finals here.
All right. We will go check on how the other matchup is going right now. That is the Katsu versus Victor. We'll get some word on that before we put you guys in the waiting room. Yeah, crazy game. I feel like the Prism kind of just started early and ran away with it.
Yeah, when you start with 2 eruditions like that, with Angelic Wrath and Goliath Gauntlet, like into aggro decks, you're really just gonna hit. Like, you had to see those CNCs early to get the poppers for those, but it just didn't happen. Like, you didn't see them all game.
That opening from the Prism player was crazy.
Katsu at 8, Victor at 14.
So it sounds like our Victor player is at 14 life, our Katsu player is at 8. So that game is still ongoing. Hopefully the grind to the end of that game doesn't take too long, but we are going to take a quick break, and then we will be back with our finals match.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for waiting. All right, we are back. The Victor matchup ended up being more of a grind than I was thinking it might be.
Oh, we have to. Oh, no.
No, that's fine.
Is it fine? Okay.
We are so the Victor ended up losing.
Yep.
It was a very, very tight game against the Katsu. I think he ended up playing just a little safer than maybe he needed to in the end game, but I get what there was still a razor left in the Katsu's deck, and I think he was just really trying to play around it. But I think it ended up losing him the game.
So we saw a play specifically that me and Robbie were just looking over, and I asked Robbie, he's a Victor player, and I was like, oh, if we just pitch blue into gold, draw, go to 1 here, and like you can just Golden Sun get the game because the Katsu was at 3, and he ended up not doing that.
He's trying to save life.
He was trying to save life because there was razor left in deck. I'm the proponent. Again, depending on what type of player you are, some people like to play not to lose. I'm the player to play to win. Like, so
you really need to make them have it in a situation like that.
It's really tight, but
especially
it's like,
against Kadachis.
Exactly. So, but it's really hard at that point because again, this is like round 7 for him. Victor is a long, grindy deck. We saw on stream earlier, like he played a 55-minute game and had to play a top 8 game right afterwards. Oh, it seems like we're going to open the judge pack as we're giving one of our top 8 competitors because the game for the Victor, the Katsu did go long, so I'm guessing he just wants a little bit of breather.
Sure.
So we're going to open the judge back here. So
yeah, that's awesome. Let's get that pulled up here. So yeah, we are going to have a Katsu versus Prism match again on stream, but this is that more defensive Katsu that we saw. So it may not go quite the same as it did last time.
Yeah, and here's Josh. So Josh has a history of opening awful out of this judge pack. Always the worst card possible. We need a win for this man. So let's give it up. Hopefully we can see it. Let's see what we grab here. We're slowly opening it.
It's one card, right?
Yeah, it's one card. Well, you get 2. You usually get the IP 1/2 usually.
Oh sure.
Oh.
This poor man.
He never wins.
That is so sad.
He spends all day. I mean, it's still $200, $300
slaving
card,
away.
But man, one day he will win. The last one he got, he actually got the same one when he did the flipped ProQuest, but it was dinged.
Oh.
So I hope this one's not dinged for him. Like, it really sucks that can happen, but that is the case.
That is unfortunate. Dakota is going to be our higher seed going into this match, so he's going to have preference on first or second. This is our finals match, so they are playing on the finalists playmat, those beautiful judge, jury, executioner playmats.
They did a great job with this artwork.
Such a good art.
Like, and we saw 4 of these get fired today in one game.
4 of these get fired.
How often you can say that?
Oh man, I am still surprised that Azuri won that game.
I'm shocked.
That was crazy.
I was talking to Azuri after we were in between top 8 rounds, and he said that he almost gave up his equipment on the 4th one because he was just so frustrated, and he had like a 14 damage turn, and he said, I'll just be patient instead, and that actually ended up working out for him. But man,
I mean, I don't blame him because that was rough to watch.
Like, there's a point where you're just like, okay, he's gonna keep doing this. I got to stop this at some point. And
we've had nothing but like great games on stream so far.
Yeah.
So these have all been really fun to watch.
Like we've had some like one-sided affairs, but like they've been very interesting. You can really see like how decks function at their highest level and can just run over games though. That's like the big thing. Like with this Prism last round, double air edition against this Katsu. I doubt Sage will get the opportunity to go second this time. I think he will be going first.
Yeah. I think both players really want to be the second player in this matchup.
So we'll see what else happens. I think Dakota was only running 3 poppers as well. I think it was only the CNCs. I got confirmation from the Katsu player last round. They didn't play the CNCs in their deck for that game.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so he said that he felt like it's such a race that he didn't feel like it was worth playing.
Just try to be faster.
And unfortunately, we had both air editions early on in that game, so it kind of really cost him here. So the good news, though, for everyone out there that's been asking about this gold foil, no matter who wins, we're going to see it opened.
Yeah,
so,
we advise the players, they're both cool with opening it. They don't want to keep it sealed. So we asked them as soon as the game is over if we could get that gold foil envelope delivered to the table. That way we can open it right away. There's going to be no waiting. We can just see it ripped immediately after this game is over.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see how these two players. So Dakota's won, I think, 2 ProQuests at this point. One, only one. Okay, so Dakota has won 1 ProQuest overall, and Sage has never won one. So it's really interesting to see both these players, like Dakota, get back here.
I feel like Sage is one of those always a bridesmaid, never a bride type players.
Yeah.
Like he always either like just bubbles out, or when he makes it in, just like can't quite close it out.
Yeah.
So it would be really cool to see him win here, because he's been trying pretty hard, and especially with this deck, like he's put a lot of work into
A lot of time too.
Yeah.
One thing that I always comment about Sage, because we're good friends, we play test a lot together. I always look at him and say, "You're really good at getting to the end game." And then you open your Crayola crayon bucket and said, "What color do I want today to punt this thing away?" He never goes for the conventional lines.
Yeah.
So, but we've saw 2 games of his today, and we saw some really boring Prism play, quote unquote. Prism's always fascinating to watch, but it was very standard. Like
he could have tried to greed for an ALS loop, but he took the safer line.
Yeah, it's like what you want to see. Daily played investments. We opened the judge pack.
Yeah, we did that like 5 minutes ago.
And so I would rewind and go find it. But it was a Chains of Eminence. I'll just spoil it for you. It was a big sad. But if you want to watch our judge cry over his pack, it is a great reaction.
Looks like they're just reviewing deck lists before they get started.
I think these. Okay, so these 2 are actually local armory players, as most people in ProQuest are. Like some people do travel, but these people do live in the same area. So I think they've done this matchup a handful of times before. So it'll be interesting to see how this actually plays out, because it's another comfort matchup between the 2.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the difference is between this matchup and the last one that we saw, because again, Dakota's list is more mid-rangey. He's not trying to be as aggressive, so I'm curious how that's going to affect the outcome of this game.
So mid-range aggro decks are like what Prism eats alive. So that's what the deck's known to do. It really struggles into like the more stallier, slow decks, but decks that it struggles into, Bolton I know is a mid-rangier, like Popper, go on. Like he just plays inherent Poppers. Satsu doesn't do that. So with these Z-Reacts, there's no fridge. Again, I feel like it still might just be Prism favored, but ever so slightly, but in a different type of way.
I agree. I think that it is Sage favored, but I wouldn't be shocked if Coda took this one away.
No. Again, very odd list. A lot of people don't get a lot of practice against it, so...
We did look at his deck list last round, and there was no pummel.
There was no pummel?
There was no pummel.
Gosh. All right, here
we have it here. We can confirm.
Here's Dakota's list.
Oh, the pummel special?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's still on it.
He is off of the pummel.
He's off
Really?
the pummel.
Which makes me sad.
And as I look at Sage's list for the 3rd time, yep, it's the same thing.
Popper count, it looks like it is just the CNCs, and we don't have Art of War.
That's right, so we cannot do the silly
We don't
surgery.
have these surprise poppers. It is face up. It is just the 3 Command and Conquers. Once all of those are gone, Sage knows that he's in the clear.
I think we have the 2 reinforced lines in the list. I think we're going to see a little bit more defensive play from this Katsu and try to outvalue this Prism.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see how this actually works out. So it looks like we're finished shuffling up. Sage is putting out the fist bump. It looks like someone... I'm kidding. We're starting the game. Good luck to both our players here. And is that 3 fluster fists in Dakota's hand? Wait.
I saw it.
That is.
Oh.
That's 3 fluster fists.
Oh, no.
So Sage is going first. And we're going Triumph.
Yeah, so we had the Prism on stream last game, and they also brought Gauntlet into Katsu.
And it blew the game out of the water.
They were just trying to be aggressive.
It's momentum. I will guarantee that it is momentum. Dakota is obsessed with Mask of Momentum. He is a believer. So 100 points, and it's hitting. So we do hit. And is that 2 red flusters out of the deck? That is pretty sad. So we get a search here. We're probably just grabbing Soraya, getting the Ponder so we can get a 5-card hand out of this.
Yeah, the Ponder here would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Leak 5 damage and set up an arsenal is going to be great.
I think TCJ. I think that's exactly what Dakota would say too. That is it. How Katsu is intended to be played.
Yeah, very, very strong start here for Sage.
This is a risk you take going first, going second against Prism. Is that they can present very tall numbers, and when you're a Katsu, you don't have very high block values.
Nothing but smiles for our players here.
I think they're just both happy to be here.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a long day. Dakota played probably his hardest matchup last round. Sage has been trying to do this for the longest time. So we'll see this Ponder break. We'll draw. Didn't show us. That's so rude of him.
So rude.
It's just so rude. Some of these players just forget they're on stream. Like, we want to see it. Like, come on.
Next time we'll strap GoPros to their stomachs and get the full view of the hand.
All right, Sage's face is not very happy about what he drew. We didn't see any of his cards. He kind of hit him. Okay, we can see a Herald Triumph, but it looks like he might just be blocking here. You can't see anything, so. But Dakota's hand, of course, we're going to start with the.
I wonder if we drew Figments again.
That would have been very awkward if that's the case. But we have the Spectral Shield up right now because we hit a protection. So we'll see if. Like, usually, I usually say no blocks, let that eat the Spectral Shield and move on.
It looks like that's what he's going to do.
I'm trying to see what is in this. So we have Dishonor, 100 Wins, and Whelming. So this hand's not the greatest for Dakota either. So we're going to go 100 Wins. And this is even threatening Mass Trigger. It's kind of like...
It's a pretty weak hand, honestly. I imagine we see the 100 Wins deployed here, or the...
Probably Winds of Eternity if this hits. We're probably going to discard.
Yeah, I imagine we get the Winds of Eternity and then Arsenal one of these other cards.
I'm not sure about you, but me as a player, when I see 100 Winds throw after 2 dodges, I'm usually like, oh, this hand's not the greatest. Like, it is like, that's B plan.
Right.
This is not what they want to be doing.
It's almost C plan.
Yeah, so we're going to just block here just to prevent. And we're throwing Dishonor for 2 just to get it in bin. So
yeah, setting up the Whelming and Arsenal. It's a good Arsenal target.
No blocks. We're taking 2 here. Okay. We're taking 3. Oh, we took 1 from the Dachi? Yeah. We just missed it. Okay.
All right, so let's see what Sage was scrunching his face about with this hand.
Sage never be a poker player.
All right.
Well, so we Arsenal. That's a good ponder card. Like a good.
That's not bad.
You don't complain. So it's like popper or nothing here. Otherwise, this is hitting unless you want to give equipment. But
it looks like it's hitting.
Yeah, taking 5. All right. Goes to Soul. Well, now here's the thing. We have Erudition on board already. We can flip this and try to go super wide this turn, and have a very powerful turn. It just depends on what his last 2 cards in Sage's hand are. So he's thinking about it. I think we just grab Protection Herald here, Protection Angel, unless he really wants to push something with, like, removing the threat of getting popped, because he knows he's only CNCs. But I think we saw the popper thrown out there.
Yeah, I think if there was a popper, there's no reason not to put it in front of the Herald. So I think Protection is like the safest pick here. And again, like these 2 tend to be the ones that you gravitate towards the most, unless it's a very specific situation.
They're just very generically good.
Yeah,
like getting an extra card off a draw is just wonderful.
Now the question is, are we going to see the flip on the Erudition?
I would have to guess. Like, I would be shocked if it wasn't. We get the Spectral Shield off of Protection. We're probably just going to push that Protection up here. So Sage, again, was playing very safe with the Protection last game. He did flip Protection over Erudition a few times, but if he does that this time, he won't have an Arsenal. So unless he's just going to attack with with Protection, let's see which one he flips.
He's going for the protection again.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I like going with the Erudition here, because if you can draw that Herald, you're going to send another attack after this.
So I think a big thing here is that what I'm reading is that we pitch the blue, we have 1 float. I think the last card in hand, if there is either a War Tuned or a card that he's trying to set up for next turn anyways. Oh, it's a Pierce. Okay. So I understand that play a little bit more now.
Yeah, the Spectra Aura here, not the worst thing to deploy.
Not something that you really want to see there. You want to keep throwing on the aggro, but like you're okay with it because throwing your addition for 9 is not that bad if you break Gauntlet with it.
Yeah.
So no block. This is the other big thing. Doing this with the... So it's coming in for 5. But yeah, doing the protection thing gives you enough spectral shields to eat these Dachis without breaking your...
Yeah, and he was
angel.
able to cover the Surging Strike with just the Herald and 1 Spectral Shield. That's pretty huge.
We know there's a Whelming in Arsenal, and we see a Bonds and Snatch in hand. So this is going to be a pretty big turn for Dakota. We're not threatening Mask at all here. Question is, how much does Sage care about this? Like, the Sage, it feels like Sage might think he might be ahead here. It just depends how bad his hand is. But like with the Pierce, with the...
I like putting 1 card here because the Spectral Shield will stop the draw trigger on the Whelming.
We have breaking skills though, so
but making him use the breaking skills before he blocked with it, like that's a pretty decent cost.
So we're gonna pitch for Footsteps, and then do we have a Soul Shield? I imagine we do.
It could just be a card, and then the Spectral Shield is insurance against the breaking skills.
I like that. I like that a little bit better. We have 2 floating now, and then we get the Soul Shield, and he's just like, oh my god, you had a natural. Yeah, that's what Katsu players do. And we're only grabbing 100 wins. It's not like we're grabbing anything crazy here, so like, we can let this hit. We're not too worried about it.
Yeah, this is just damage at this point.
Yeah, like... What was the last card? It was Snatch. So we're going to go 100 wins in the Snatch, and then, like, I guess the threat of on hit is draw 2. And then Snapdragon Scaler. So this could be a bigger turn if we let that Snatch hit. Yeah, no blocks. We take the 3 here.
All right, 26 all.
Because it's just low to the floor consistency, so he's going to probably be able to throw both attacks if not get an Arsenal and an attack off of Snapdragon Scalers. And we've used 2 cards already, and just losing our turn here isn't the end of the world. Oh, the stream died. It's back. Okay. Someone said it's back, but...
Maybe a bit of a stutter in the internet.
So he let it hit, and we did not break snaps
we
there.
didn't break snaps.
Interesting. So, okay, we have a Tenacity. We drew the E-Strike, though. Like, I mean, we threw the Command and Conquer. So this is coming in. This is the risk you take by not blocking here. We have the Popper, and it is... Like, not really what you want to see as a Prism player. You really don't want to see the Popper. That's why I think blocking that out is really good. Because you're only giving them a 4-card hand to play with, and they're going to play with a 4-card hand anyways if they draw the Popper.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. He only has 3 in the deck, so he's going to draw them at some point. But when you are on your 2-card hand with the Pierce, like that's not what you want to see.
No, I get the idea is if he doesn't have it, that's a big blowout there. But like it doesn't feel correct to me because you don't even have the Ponder token there. It's just vanilla damage, and I guess you get another Herald, but.
And I feel like we're seeing the exact opposite of what happened in the last game where Sage just isn't really... He doesn't have the pressure to put the Katsu player on the back foot, so the Katsu is able to do these huge chain links.
I think this is a triple Surging Strike hand, by the way.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's a fluster. Okay. I was like... So we did let the Surging Strike hit here. So we're thinking on Katsu trigger. I'm curious to see what's in Sage's hand, because if Sage just takes everything here, he might just be like, all right, it's time to this is the game. I'm going to put it on the line here, and we're going to see if I can...
So we're pitching the Fluster Fist.
Yep. Probably just grabbing...
I imagine whelming here.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not blocking, it's like, cool, like this is threatening on hit the draw. He's going to play it right away, I imagine. Goes to banish. And we're just going to play it, yeah. We have a Soul Shield in hand, so we can protect ourselves from this pretty easily. Again, both players are just joking around, having a good time. I guess
Yeah,
this
they're good friends, so like regardless of outcome, I'm sure both players are going to be really happy for the other person.
Yeah. So this soul shield will block this out. I'm not sure. It's just a snatch before. The snatch is seen getting a lot of value this game, and Sage is like, I'm just gonna eat it. I don't really care. But now we've drawn 3 cards off a snatch, which is crazy.
That's very strong. If we had pitched a blue there, we could potentially have blocked it out with the footsteps, but
All right, so Sage is saying if you draw the popper, this game's over. Let's look. We don't have a popper, so we're going gauntlet. I'm guessing here's the erudition. Judgment. Interesting.
we'll stop him from playing cards from Banish.
Yes. So that's a big deal.
This is actually huge.
So you can't. This turns off Katsu trigger. It's kind of crazy how good this card is in the Katsu. It's almost like an amnesia.
This is very good. Yeah, like you said, this is basically an amnesia. This is coming in for 532 damage. I think Dakota just loses here.
Yeah, I think we might as well skip him up and just open the
open that pack. Yeah. Any other Herald and Dakota could have just taken the damage. He has a life lead. He could have taken the damage and come back with as big of a turn as he can muster.
And looking at Dakota's hand, his hand's awful. Like, it is a bunch of blue block threes. Like, you really need this Katsu trigger to be able to sort these out. Like, that's the whole purpose of this deck, is that who cares if I draw blue block threes? I can hit with these because they're not going to block it. I'll just Katsu and go grab my reds.
Yeah. This was a really good draw from Sage. And there he is waving at the camera.
Mm-hmm. Thinking we don't notice.
We see everything. Yeah, big blocking decision here for Dakota. I think I saw a Mugenshi in the hand.
Yeah.
So at worst, he could put 2 cards in front of this and just go Dachi Mugenshi.
Which is 6 damage threatening mass, but we don't know whether these are off an arsenal. He's going to block with the breaking skills here.
531 damage left to cover up.
You know, just a little bit. And I'm just going to give block out the 10. I mean, you have to. So this gives a lot of tempo for Sage here. So my assumption is this arsenal is something to play for 1. So Sage grabs it right back, and this is kind of what Prism does. Like, Prism's life doesn't actually mean too much. As crazy as that sounds, it's kind of a timer. You're like, all right, this is, if I'm at 1, it doesn't, I'm fine where I'm at. Like, once I die, I die. I know that's every deck, but like this deck can play from 1 very easily. We did not see the erudition. I didn't see it in Sage's hand anyways. He has Soul Shield,
I see 2 protections,
which are fine. No blocks, go to 9. Yeah, whatever. Go to 8.
Yeah, I think right now Prism managed to take back the tempo.
So with the Soul Shield in hand, I think he's just gonna play for getting this in Soul. Wins into the Pierce. Okay. The good news is we do get to Arsenal with Soul Shield if we want to.
Yeah. I think I could see it being used for pitch here if Sage just wants to stay.
So what he did, and he actually did a really cool play here. So because he had the 2 floating, he gets to flip Soraya. Now he gets to throw a hero. If this hits, we're drawing 2 extra cards.
This is great.
Now does he has a popper in hand though.
Oh no. That's just the worst timing.
What a wonderful play by Sage. That's just gonna be punted back in his face.
This does let us arsenal that Soul Shield though.
Yes. So like it's not the worst thing in the world. And then we're looking at Dakota's hand. It is not great. Again.
No, I think I saw a Whelming. I think I maybe saw a Flusterfist.
Yeah, that's okay. Like I think you're fine with that if you're Sage. Okay. Dachi.
These Dachis though, they're gonna leak a lot of damage.
We're gonna pitch for footsteps here. Because we want to keep the Soraya up. So this is where it becomes really rough. It's like you have the Soul Shield and Arsenal. You can give 1 card here, and there's a chance you can protect the Soraya. But at the same time, it's like, to what cost? Like, if he goes 2 more cards wide, you're losing this anyways. Oh, he's giving up Rapture.
That's
Interesting play, and here's a fluster for 2.
this. If he plays the Soul Shield here, he can draw cards next turn.
You can. I think it's correct, right? Like, he has an Arsenal Shield in hand. And he goes Soraya, draw 2, and maybe you're off to the races here? Alright, yeah, we kept the Soraya alive, and I think that was really smart of Sage. We're playing around playing around the Razor Reflex. We're playing around the Razor Reflex into the Breaking Seal, actually. That's 6. Like, and if Dakota felt like Sage was trying really hard to keep this Erudition alive, like, that's like a fine play. And it looks like Dakota drew awkward again. Like, I see 2 Whelmians, a fine center, and an East Strike in hand.
That's not.
Oh, Lightus, this is big. This is big. All right, so we're going to banish. We're going to reveal. Oh, we hit. Put it in, Sage. Launch it in.
I mean, that's not the one that you want to see.
Oh, you're drawing it, right? You're going to draw the card. That's the thing.
The Light of Soul's triggering first, right?
Yeah, so you get to decide if you want to draw this or not. So this is what you're saying. You don't want to see this because then you search shuffle, but like without the chess piece, I don't know how important your soul is at this point. He puts it in. He's like, okay, I'm going to save this. I'm going to go grab another life. Move on. I feel like this is correct. It keeps... 4 life is still 4 life. This gives you a 2-block D-react. And if you draw another angel, it sucks. But the good news is we've seen 2 poppers. I think that was the thought process. We've seen 2 of the 3 poppers, so we could have thrown that, and then we could have had a massive turn.
So chat is suggesting to go get Triumph, no popping this turn. One thing that maybe you might not know if you tuned in recently, this is open deck lists. We know that the Katsu is only on 3 Command and Conquers as poppers, and as Alex just said, we've seen 2 of them so far. So the amount of poppers, like the chance of seeing a popper this turn is very low.
So Sage actually made a really cool play here that we missed. So you've grabbed Rebirth. So you're going to draw your cards from Soraya. Going to grab Rebirth. Rebirth resolves after the Soraya. He grabs Judgment again.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we're going to throw Judgment. We're going to get an Arsenal card. He has to block this out. Like, and we saw Sage's hand. Not Sage, Dakota's hand. Dakota's hand doesn't do anything unless he can Katsu. So he's going to take the 6. It's going to go to Soul. 16. Yeah. And looks like Sage is getting himself right back into this game.
Yeah, this was a great swing turn for Sage. He's going to need to
keep 1 more turn together, I think, here. But
I don't know if he's going to be able to keep the Angel alive. It's going to be really hard through these Kodachis, but...
So we're going to go War, grab the Courage. I'm wondering if that's an Erudition in hand or if he's just playing for just some other big attack next turn. Because, like, 16 is, like, a good break point for Prism. We can give this, like, to a point where we're throwing lethal next turn with this Courage token. We can go 7, 8, 7, Angel 7. Like, we're ripping the whole hand. You can't do anything about it. But Sage needs to be alive for that. So...
Right. And Dakota didn't block.
No, he has 5 cards in hand. So we will see how this goes. We do not know what the Arsenal card is. So one cool Prism trick against Katsu is that Halo you can go grab.
We have Halo up.
We can go grab the Triumph, and we can minus all the attacks. So we can make a lot of these attacks just hit for nothing. So I think he's trying to figure out what he's going to do here.
Does that work on weapons here?
Which one?
The Triumph? Like,
no, it would be great if it did.
Attack actions?
It's attack actions
Okay.
only. I think that for that reason. Just gonna give feet here, yeah. Blocking 2. Here's an Ardachi.
I think we have to put a card in front of this. I think we want to keep that.
Yeah, and it's a
Erudition
pierce.
around.
It's a blue pierce reality. You don't need this card anymore. So now we get to see what Dakota's been saving because he wanted to keep this hand. Like, even through the Judgment, he said, I want this hand, I want to play it.
We really just need to keep 1 card in hand as the Prism player, right?
And if we can keep Soraya alive, yes. 1 card in hand is great. And the fantastic thing is we have the 2 floating here, 2 in Soul. So both Rebirth and War are our D-Rex at this point. We have four more former Sync Below just essentially on the field. I think Sage is playing wonderfully to get himself back into this game. Is he saying go again, or is he saying 7? Did he just IP himself this turn? I don't know how this works.
If we can get a...
Get up because this is really important. He didn't draw, and he has Snapdragon Scalers, so...
Just need a counter on the table to let us know. Chose
7, so he's going to snap this. Okay.
What was the last card, did you see?
It's... I can't remember off the top, but I think it's because we pitched the Whelming. So Sage has a decision to make. Do we block 3 here and flip an Angel and give up Erudition? Or give up that, and then hope that these last 2 cards aren't enough to thread through the Erudition? It's a raise.
Oh.
So Soul Shield. So we're blocking it out. It won't have go again. So that's fine. I think with us grabbing this Courage token, I think we have an Erudition or so. I think that's what his plan was. Or we have some kind of Herald because we were setting that up.
Yeah, that was a very well-timed Soul Shield.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that Sage lost the Erudition.
Okay. So coming in for 8 go again. So we didn't have a Herald in Arsenal, but 8 is 8. Unfortunately, this is vanilla damage, and Dakota has a lot of life to give. And now these 2 Figments are they're pretty. They're sitting on the board. They're ornaments. I wonder what's going through Dakota. Dakota's just eating it. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I'm curious to see what's in Sage's arsenal. But we'll need some luck here. I think an ALS. If that's an ALS in arsenal, we draw a double blue. I think we're fine. There's ways to get out of this for Sage, but I think he's in a rough spot.
I agree. Looks like we're starting with a Be Like Water. I saw a Lord of Winds in hand.
Oh, Sage is not happy with what he drew. It sounds 2 Be Like Water, a Lord of Winds, and Mysterious card number 4.
Is that a second Be Like Water?
It is. He has 2 Be Like Waters in hand. 1 in hand and then 1 on board. Is he going to block this here? All right, we're blocking it.
Just do it again.
Sage is okay. Turn hands, I always say. Sometimes you just need to. You need to save the life and find your out. If you can take minimal damage as a Prism player and find a way to play double, if you draw in a double blue ALS, you can steal tempo back into a game with just a hero. Dakota's at 8. If Dakota can't take 7.
Yeah, these Heralds are huge chunks of his life total at this point.
Mm-hmm. So I think maybe a problem that Sage is running into is that we have a lot of maybe no blocks in hand.
Yeah, if we're holding multiple Figments in hand right now, I know we've seen a lot deployed, but there are still some that would be in the deck at this point.
I don't know how many he doesn't play in this matchup. He does play everything. But I know he sides some out when he's playing into aggro.
Yeah, it's very possible that the Triumph maybe came out if we know that there's only 3 poppers.
Yeah, you play Judgment in this matchup because when they banish off a Katsu trigger, you can play Hilo and just stop it.
Judgment in this matchup.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
Good.
It's crazy. Well, otherwise, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, judging by his expression, it is not looking good.
Trying to just think through his outs here, but maybe he doesn't think he has many.
Looks like he's taking the 3.
Does he decline the Katsu trigger here? That's always the question.
Are we paying for the Be Like water?
That's the other question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions here to be had. I guess Dakota's the only one to know them. We don't really... We have a blue in hand. So what, we call Surging and we just go kind of wide here? Like...
Call Surging, grab a Whelming.
Throw a Whelming? I'm not sure what's in Arsenal. Like, if it's a Whelming or Descendant in Arsenal, we can already just... Like, I feel like it's just pretty obvious. Drop the blue and we're just off. Go for the races.
It looks like he's holding... Is it an E-Strike?
It's an E-Strike. Yeah, that was the last card. Oh, something happened. We just heard a big pop. That's why both players are like a little shaken by that. We don't know exactly what it was, but they're both laughing, so it must not have been anything bad.
I think they had some balloons by the refreshment table. I wonder if they're...
If I popped like just out of nowhere. He's starting the E-Strike.
I think this is correct.
And he's
What is he
grabbing
finding?
bonds.
So
And
he probably has a Whelming or a Descendant in Arsenal right now.
Yeah.
And I think that this turn is going to be very hard for Sage to get out of.
live. So we're going to paint the Halo. Let's see what was in his hand. Oh, it's the Triumph. That's going to go into Soul. He's going to draw a card, and
I just don't think it's
I
enough.
think he shakes his head no. I think
he may have just drawn the Figment to turn the bonds face down.
no way.
I don't know
No,
what...
he has it. He has
Okay.
it. Okay.
I was going to say, I don't know what else would have caused a reaction like
I think
that.
it's no block. A no block card.
A no
really.
block.
Like, if that's a Genesis in hand, like, it is... It's a big deal. So this is actually, like... So since it was bonds here, we can just grab the Whelming. We have one floating, so we have Footsteps block still. We're at 6. So it's Descendant for 5, but we have to block. We have Arm Piece still up for the Katsu. We have to block this at least one card.
So even if he did draw a no block here, if he drew a Genesis, he can still turn that into a block 4.
Yes, he can. He can still block it, but it's still not what you want to do, right? Like,
And we could put the Footsteps and the no block in
into
front of
something.
us and
And
block
then
5.
I think that's the correct play here. Just say you don't have anything past this. Because he doesn't.
You give Dakota the option of using his breaking skills to go to 6 and break your
next turn.
break
like,
your boots.
Yeah, like.
But I don't think you're really using them anymore.
And then
like,
you can hold on to a card, and then if you have a red Herald, I'm guessing, again, if Sage had a red Herald, I think he would throw it last turn. Wait, I don't know what his arsenal is. But if he had a red Herald, like, this is, like, we're ripping a card. We have to rip a card, because as soon as he takes 7, goes to 1, we have the Arcane Angel in deck. Unless that's what he drew, but then we just pitch it here, right? So I think there's still outs in this game. I don't think it's likely, but we still have chances to get through. So we'll see. He's thinking through this, but I think the correct play is to throw Footsteps in front of this.
Yeah, there's one popper left for the Katsu. We don't need the action point generation anymore. We're just past that point of this game. I think that if you make him use the breaking scales here, you're pretty happy with that.
Going to 5, and like, does Dakota even have any cards left in hand? We see it.
No.
So this is just 5 damage, and so Sage is trying to figure out what to use here. Like, we're definitely going to have 2 cards in hand. Again, Sage does not look very happy about it. It's a Pierce. So we're going to use Prism to flip. I'm guessing we're going to give Footsteps.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't think Dakota even uses breaking scales here.
No.
He has the option to break the boots if he wants to, but I don't think he needs to.
Yeah. And I guess we get the Dachi at the end of this, so we're taking 2. Like, whatever. Go to 4. All right. So this needs to be a Red Herald. I really do believe that. It's an ALS in hand. Maybe I think that's what he drew off of it. Oh
we just passed
no.
it back.
He needs double blue.
Doesn't run that many of them.
He's looking around. We didn't see Dakota's hand. So Dachi. A Razor does just end it, but we're not playing around it because we don't need to.
We're taking another one.
Hand's not the greatest again on Dakota's end. We have snaps. And this is threatening. So this is turning 3 on hit draw. So we can't just give a card here. He's going to break breaking skills. Oh, who would have thought? And that's what Sage is saying right now. I would have never guessed.
I can't imagine we're going to have a reaction here.
No, we have an ALS in hand, but it's just not.
Yep, Sage is taking one.
Yep, going to one. We are now Dachi locked, so. So being Dachi locked, this is actually a big problem for Sage because now he can't just take one from a Dachi on the start and drop an ALS. You just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that option for him is just gone at this point. Because he's also never going to be able to keep enough cards in hand to play it on his turn.
I think Sage can see it in his own face. I think he knows he lost this game.
This was a very good game, though.
Yeah, I think both players played extremely well. Sage played a lot to his out. So did Dakota. Like both drew very awkward hands. Like it wasn't like both were like high rolling or anything. Like
Dakota drawing one of his 3 poppers on that early turn was huge.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's going to choose to find here. I imagine it's a Bonds.
But I mean, that's the downside to Prism, though. Your cards read Phantasm. If you're only playing 2 cards in hand, 1 card can just stop your turn.
Right. You're at 32 life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
any other heroes at 9 here.
And if you're at 9, you're like, okay, I'm feeling good. Like, there's going to probably a point in this game where you're like, okay, I just won the game here. I can keep my whole hand and just say, cool, you're dead. Like, this new Prism is really, really strong. It's really hard to play because of those 2 reasons. Phantasm is not a fun mechanic for the Prism players.
And I think Sage has played the deck very well. I think prior to this, he had 1 loss in Swiss.
Yeah.
And he was 4-1, and then he won his 2 top 8 matches before this. And yeah, he just a lot of practice on this deck, and I think it shows. Yep,
Grabbing bonds. Throwing the bonds out.
And then now we get to search through the deck again. And
grabbing Descendant. Blocking 3 here. So we had red. We did draw. Is that red, yellow? No, it's a blue. Is that a blue war? No, that's 2 red. We had double red war tune in that hand. So I think that's the last thing Sage wanted to see. And here's the Descendant. We know there's 1 card in there with no block. And this is coming in for 3.
Is this last card in Dakota's hand going to be another Bonds?
There's the Erudition. I'm assuming so.
Let's see it.
It's
the Lord of Winds. Okay.
And Sage has no block.
Sage has no block?
It's a Genesis. No Genesis, it's LLS.
We don't have anything in Soul. We can't
flip, so we can block 1 here. And that's the game.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Dakota.
Yeah, congratulations to Dakota. He wins yet another ProQuest, and Sage loses yet another one.
I don't think he really did anything wrong this time.
No, I think he played very well. Yeah, usually Sage losing is because Sage misplayed.
Yeah, he usually hurts himself. This game, I would disagree.
I think he played very well.
Yeah.
I think that there was just some good timing on Dakota's part, and I think that there was some awkward draws on some of Sage's draw steps. But we should be getting this gold foil opened fairly quickly. Let's see if they're delivering it to the table right now.
What's in that arsenal? It was Angelic Wrath.
Oh.
That was just stuck there. So he got that, and then he just had to arsenal it. So, like, he just...
Yeah, that's not great to have sitting there. Especially at that state of the game, you're just never going to be able to use it.
The reason why he arsenal is because he got popped.
Right.
It's like, couldn't do much about that, so...
All right, here's the gold foil.
I don't even know what we're like looking for. I guess I'm
Money would be good.
Yeah, but like I don't think like for Dakota, he already has a breaking still gold foil. He doesn't bring it anywhere because Snaps would be pretty hot. He's a big fan of that. Hot. You know, somehow gold foil razor reflexes sneaks in there for whatever reason.
Maybe a heart and cross strap. Looks like we're struggling. We're losing the battle with the envelope.
No, those things are hard to open. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're not very easy. So, let's see. All right,
here we go.
Yeah, pull it up that way. Yep, nothing.
It's a Flesh and Blood card.
And
oh no! This was a way to end the stream for sure.
So the funny thing is, neither of these players are going for the ProQuest. So this gold foil was playing for the gold foil basically. This means nothing to either of them.
Yeah, that is that's a hit. All right, well, that is going to be the end of our ProQuest. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. Thank you to Oddwillow's Games Haven for allowing us to stream their ProQuest. This store is great. Their link is in the description. So again, I don't think they're selling any singles online right now, but they're doing board games and stuff. So definitely check them out if you are interested in anything like that. Alex, thank you for joining us in commentary.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate that.
This was such a fun day.
Yeah, it was a wonderful day.
Yeah, if you guys are not subscribed to us, please consider subscribing. We do live Flesh and Blood gameplay every Wednesday at 7 p.m. CST. But yeah, again, thank you everyone who joined us today. We had a lot of viewers, and it was really cool having you guys here with us. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend.